My place is at the fore. It will be done. It will be done. Reduced to dust. At your beck and call. I will do my duty. Reduced to dust.
Accustomed to being ordered around.
I will do my duty. It will be done. Target well struck. At your beck and call. Like the aftermath of an orbital. It will be done. This wound will make a fine scar.
With you at my side. Victory is within our grasp.
This favor tenfold.
I will do my duty. Reduced to dust.
Your defiance is futile.
Indeed, one fewer target. It will... I will do. I took care of this one. A tactically sound approach. Will one fewer target. Grey hair, sure hair. Victory is imminent. I will do my duty. I took care of this one. At your beck and call. Indeed. It will. I took care of this one.
Hello everyone, Revan619 here, and I hope you're all doing very well. This is going to be going up a little bit later than expected because I've been sick. But it's going to be the first in our updated 1.3 build guide, and we're going to be starting with one of everyone's favorite companions, which is Abelard. He's the first companion you meet along your journey, well, the first one you get added to your party, and he's kind of been memed into god tier status by everyone, even though he's a very middle of the road companion, as he's got no special origin to him. He's not a psyker, he's just someone that you get at the start of the game that shows you there's some light in the darkness of the future, and he will be with most people for their entire journey. He is eventually, for myself, swapped out by Heinrich, who is just infinitely better in everything that he does. But for a lot of other people, they'll be keeping the old Papa Abelard for the entirety of the game. I'm going to show some video footage for this, but the core around Abelard's strategy is he is a warrior that can be very effectively built into any of the advanced classes. The most notable and strongest by far being Arc Militant. He can serve as a vanguard, but this is a very passive playstyle, and honestly not the best if you were to ask me. It's entirely reactive and it's not very effective on higher levels of play. Yes, it's usable, but it will make your life harder than Arc Militant. Whilst he can also be an executioner, it's just not as effective as a Psycho Executioner because you're not getting that biophysical distortion. He can still do a lot of damage with it thanks to Malpain Shroud, but it's probably going to be better for your time to go into either Vanguard, where you can stack temporary HP and use Malpain Shroud to do a lot of damage, or just go into Arc Militant and get in there. Now, I did try building this time round as a Vanguard push build, so the current stats that you're seeing in the gear that I've got on here is for the Vanguard variant. Now, what's useful about Vanguard is it stacks all sorts of temporary wounds, so you can use many different items, especially some of the unique DLC ones, to use the push ability and stack up your HP. Now, on the second turn of combat, that will then turn into strength, so it can allow you to do quite good damage, but if you have the Malpain Shroud, which you can get from the very first world that you go to in Act 2 for a colony, you can start turning that into damage. You can still use that with, say, Chainsaw and Arc Militant, so you're going to be doing a lot in both setups. So we're going to have a little look at the build spreadsheet that I put together. The links to this will be down below. But as you can see, I've built these tables out to show the abilities, skills, talents, common talents, heroic actions, and stat increases. When I build for a Vanguard, I like to get Medicae early on. You don't actually need this point because he starts with Medicae, so you can go straight into Athletics, but I like to have the little bit of extra healing for the Chaos Spawn. For unfair, this first ability, I take on both of them, which is defensive stance. That will actually give you 20 extra armor if you only use charge or slash that turn. It's a good way to, early game when you do need tanking, to get it because it ups your armor. Eventually I go into rigorous training, so we don't lose MP for that. On the push build, I went forceful strike so I could get some knockback, and we then get thick skin, ramming speed to increase that, impetus, which increases the damage of our ramming attacks because I use the pneumo boots here. And I've picked up the other things like Get Off Me. Get Off Me has a very unique feature at the moment, which is when you use it for the first round of combat, all your attacks will knock down enemies. They will be given a save to try and resist that. Going further into the Vanguard, we obviously pick up stuff like Provocation. Defensive stance can't parry riposte Provocation, but auto-striking parry and sword and the boots can. Defensive stance, the ability, not the best, but it is very usable. People who like to play passively, who run away and hide and just stack buffs, they can just wait for enemies to attack them with the defensive stance. On higher difficulties, Taunting Scream won't guarantee that enemies make you the priority, but if you just place them in the way, most melee will attack into you. Because he's not a Psyker and he has limited attack increases per round outside of Fine Sour and Daring Breach, it's quite useful to get into Melee Specialist, Dual Weapon Combat, and Dual Weapon Specialist. That means you can make 2 attack actions a round for 1 AP each. On top of Charge, that's 3. There are ways to build up your beacons with like Provocation and Force Distraction, but most likely your actual AoE taunts is going to be coming from the Warrior. Later fruit levels, you can pick up either Reckless Strike or Breakthrough, and you can start going into that. One of the main issues at the moment, I would usually build this with Breakthrough early on and also Shearing Strikes, but Shearing Strikes is currently bugged and it uses up all your MP to use it, so it's not something I'm getting much mileage out of. Alternatively, a much stronger variant is actually his Arc Militant. It's a much more aggressive playstyle. In some ways it's even tankier, and you will get a lot more out of it. You can, instead of, say, ramming speed here, you could also take Shearing Strikes, because rigorous training means that you can just use that without being caught out by the bugs. So if you wanted to, you could build in defensive stance, rigorous training. This could be considered a dead talent because once you get Reckless Rush, you won't need it, but this will be helpful earlier on in the lower levels. So if you wanted Shearing Strikes here, you could take instead of ramming speed, or you can take instead of rigorous training if you respec later. Jordan Mastery, same as before. Defensive stance, same as before. This time we take Blade Fury and Impetus as well, so with those two combined you can do that. Shearing Strikes is what you need to use Get Off Me when you are using 2 weapons, so that will cause things to knock down. But we're going to go into Arc Militant instead of Vanguard. Now, the main thing about Vanguard here is Wildfire increases your attack economy. Reckless Rush with All Out means you don't spend all your MP when attacking. Dependable means that if you swap between different attack types, you can build up extra armor. Adaptability will increase your, and critical versatility will increase your likeliness to critical, and it will also increase your critical damage. Another thing that's quite useful here, you can take Devastating Attack to try and use different attack types to put on different effects enemies, or you can pick up Cautious Approach and Survivor. This will make you tankier than a Vanguard and more likely to survive if you're not very used to the system and how you go about getting in and doing a lot of damage. In the later levels, you can then pick up Confident Approach, so you can switch between defensive and offensive. Confident Approach will always reduce your damage overall. There's not much you can do about it when you're using that, but I prefer not to take the stances and instead get stuff like Kick and go in that way. But your damage will be much higher and it will be much more offense orientated by going this route than if you went the other way. So this current build is level 50. It's about to go to the final world of Act 4. I've done the progress update, so you'll be able to look at those below. I will link them as well, so you can see how my gear changes over the states. But like I said, we've got Laughing God Pendant on here, so Dance Macabre, because it's a Vanguard, it often gets movement locked, and until you have Get Out My Way, this is very helpful early on. At this point, because I do have Get Out My Way, I could swap that out for something like Require Matus. When I do damage, it will also do extra willpower damage, but it's up to yourself which you really want to go on there. The Temperous Elite Carapace is going to be one of the best armors that you can get because it gives you a lot of extra deflection based on your cruise. I like to use Tactical Genius because you're going to be dodging and parrying quite a lot when you have stuff built up, so it is fairly useful, but you don't really need it, so you could always swap that out for another helmet. Another option is obviously Helmet Determination, because you can get some extra Fellowship and armor. But his armor's high enough that you're not going to see too much. Terran Vengeance, best one-handed axe because it increases your strength and your toughness to your damage, so as those get buffed, they go up. However, it won't really compete with the damage of a chainsaw, because even on just a 4-strike chainsaw with Malpain Shroud, it's going to be very effective. Piercing Transceiver will help with that. Pneumo Boots will help with your charges. So yeah, you're going to be quite good at getting in on there. But we'll show you some videos of some of the gameplay, and that's going to be sort of the Abelard build. The Steam guide for the written instructions, as well as the spreadsheet, will be linked below. But hopefully this will get you started on your 1.3 journey with Abelard.
Insist, Lord Captain.
Victory is imminent. It will target well struck. Follow my lead. Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. Indeed.
In the name of Consul Celio, I shall prevail.
It will be done. Victory is imminent. I took care of this one. My place is at the fore. It will be done. And reduced to dust. At your beck and call. I took care of this one. My soul for Kekarak. I've seen worse battles than this in my time. Reduced to dust. It will be done. I will take care of this one. Victory reduced to dust.
Falls, and so do I.
A tactically sound approach. Indeed. At your beck and call. I will do my duty. It will.
Momentum.
One fewer target. Attention to detail is the key to success.